Hey, I'm Jared White, the J-Man63. It is Friday, March the 7th. It's Jared White, the J-Man63 here, and it's going to be an episode of J-Rod's Diecast Reviews. And today, I have another old and new review. One car is older, one car is newer. Both are Shelbys. And I guess that I will get right into it, and I will show you guys the cars that I will be reviewing today. So the first car is a M2 Machines Shelby GT350 Mustang. I will say that this is probably, in my opinion, of diecast collecting, and based on my experience of buying cars, that this has to be one of the nicer M2s that I have seen out there that you can buy for the money. It is a pretty decent car, pretty nice car, just in my opinion. I think on details it's the best. So I will show you the car. So here we are. The front end has pretty nice headlights. Very well done. There's a peg in the center of these, but all in all I think they're pretty good for 124 scale headlights. They're not that bad. There's a plate on the front that says 1965 right here, and you have, I believe these are painted markers. I'm not sure if these are glued in or if these are actual markers, but you can see the front air dam right there, and this would have been the Shelby's air dam. I don't know how they would have been in the Mustang, but I know it was built like this to reduce the weight of the car. So again, very nicely done wheels. They are Blue Dot Goodyear tires, and they're pretty nice. My one problem is the tire is not exactly all the way over the lip of the wheel, so you can kind of see that the wheel is there. Kind of wish they'd done that a little better, but it's not too bad. The wheels are have that deepish look to them. They do look, you know, like they're 3D. You can see the inserts. They are cut, so that's pretty nice. I don't know if these are Kragers or not, but they look pretty nice. 89. This is the 89 years of Shelby Mustang. The 89 is for how many years that he lived, and you can see that this is the one when Shelby passed away. Very unfortunate to all the Shelby enthusiasts around the world. 1923 to 2012. He lived a pretty long time, so yeah, it's still pretty cool. Pretty cool car. But still, nonetheless, Shelby passing away was very sad, so he was an icon, in my opinion. You can see the window, the rear quarter valance that has these signature slats on it, which a lot of people carry this over to the new Mustang, which is often the case with the newer models. So yeah, these are very cool looking. Carroll Shelby's signature on the roof right there. You can kind of see that. Pretty cool. Rear end. It does say GT350 right there. And there's the emblem right there. It's all painted in. Pretty well done. Taillights. These are painted. These are not clear inserts, but they're still pretty nice. Again, painted taillights on this one. Stripes go all the way down to here. Pretty well done. Pretty cool piece. There's the Shelby emblem on the back. Doors, inserts are right here. The little, the handles are here. Alright, so now that I've covered the exterior pretty much, I'll cover the interior. First off, in the interior you can kind of see that there's a spare tire through the rear window, and then there's the roll cage supports right there and right there, and I will point the roll cage out. Doors open very well, very precisely done. like I said. So like I said, you can see the interior right here. I don't want to spend too long on these cars. I don't want to run over 25 minutes with this video and spend forever uploading this. Anyway, here is the interior. Very well done. You have the window crank and the door lock handle. My one pet peeve, unfortunately, with most of the M2 machines is that they don't exactly hide the dogleg hinges inside of here. And if you look, you can kind of see up through there where the hood kind of goes through, which I don't like that. I wish they had kind of put a panel in there to hide it, but I guess that was kind of a cost-saving thing. I guess it's okay, but really kind of bugs me. Like I said, very nice done seats. They are textured, which I like to see. They're textured seats. You can see there is a big shifter knob inside of there, which is pretty well pronounced. It does make its presence quite known, which most of these Shelbys do have pretty big shifter handles. Again, mirror. There's only one side view mirror because they usually don't come with a passenger side on these cars. So yeah, and it shuts pretty nice. The door shuts pretty well. And like I said, very nice car. We'll get on to the other side now. Again, it opens, which is the case with the other door. So, the steering wheel does work. It steers the fronts. My one thing that bugs me about the steering wheel, which I wish they had gotten that correct, is that the blinker handle, or the column, the center column kind of moves with the steering wheel, which it does kind of bug me a little bit. I wish they had like glued that on or something, but I guess it was just, which is kind of unrealistic, but you can't really notice it when you have the door shut, but still, kind of bugs me a little. I know it's there. Again, this door does not open as far as the other door, but it still does shut pretty well. Very nice interior, like I said, and you can also see the roll cage back there. I don't know if I showed that, but you can see there is a roll cage, and I do not know if that spare tire is made out of real rubber or not. Not sure, but yeah, it looks like it could be made out of, hold on. Not exactly sure. Not sure. I don't know if it's made out of real rubber or not. I don't want to find out, but I don't want to mess with it and break it. But I'm not sure it's made out of real rubber or not. But nonetheless, it's there, and it does give a pretty good amount of realism to the car. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the trunk. This, in my opinion, is also, to me, one of the more detailed trunks M2 has done. Usually they don't really put anything in their trunk, which it is surprising to see it here on this car. There is a little tiny trunk on this thing. It is very small. You'll notice it's just, I can barely fit my finger in it, yet they did put, I think there's a toolkit in there, and I think there's something else in this, I want to say. So yeah, there's a toolkit, there's a little, I'm not sure if this is an oil can or not, but there's a silver thing, and then there's a battery in this trunk. So like I said, very cool, and it's very well done. So like I said, there's a battery and everything in the trunk, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Love the way they did it, glad it's all there, and I can say that this is just uber cool. Alright, so anyway, so here I will get on to the underneath of the hood, the engine, as it's called, which is one of my favorite parts in any car. It always shows how well that the craftsmanship was done on a piece. To me personally, I think, just in my mind, this is probably one of the better engine bays I've seen on M2 machines as cars. It's very well done. You can see all the wiring. Just a very good looking engine bay. You kind of got this like dome-like thing on top of the hood. I don't know what this is, but it is the cover to the carb. It's kind of got this shape to it, like kind of like a flower-shaped dome, almost. But anyway, you got all the engine piping here, and you've also got a line for the radiator. No battery in here, of course, because that is all in the trunk. But pretty good engine, we'll say. M2 did a pretty good job on this. My one pet peeve of this hood, it kind of, after a while, it's kind of succumbed to gravity. It doesn't always, well, it stays open pretty good here, but up here it doesn't really stay open well. But it's still pretty nice. I don't know if you can see this, but there is a hood scoop which you can see all the way through. It's pretty cool. At least they did that. It is part of the car. It's pretty nice. Not just a glued on piece. Hood pins, they're not connected to anything, but they're still pretty cool that they're there. Alright, so I'm going to hurry up with this video. I'm going to get on to the underside of this car. Metal base, as is pretty much with most M2 machines, it has a all metal base on it. The one best thing about this interior, the one cool thing about the undercarriage of this car, as I'm going to point out, I kind of made a mistake there, sorry. The one cool thing I'm going to point out is the exhaust. And I like the way they did this coloring. They got black headers right here, and then it's like colored in the center. They've also painted these mufflers, and they did like 3 colors in the exhaust, which I really like that. Not a lot of the other die-cast companies would really bother to do that. They'd probably just paint the exhaust like one solid color, leave it like that. I don't know if this is factory correct, but whatever they did here, it looks pretty good. And this is pretty much just straight out of the muffler. There is no muffling there whatsoever. So I would imagine this car in person, if you were standing next to it, it would be pretty freaking loud. So yeah, it'd be pretty damn loud to hear this thing starting up. So anyway, drive shaft is painted, and the one cool thing is this is a separate drive shaft. This is not part of the body. I just noticed that. This is an actual drive shaft right here. It's all plastic. It's not molded in. This is actually, like I said, this is one of the nicer undercarriages I've seen on an M2 machine, so they're pretty good. So yeah, suspension components right here. You can see that there are some struts, and there's some leaf springing. There is a drive shaft right here. So all in all, pretty nice car. Gotta hand it to M2 machines. This is one nice piece. Alright, so I don't want to spend much longer than that with this car. All in all, to me, this car, probably a 9 out of 10, 9.5 maybe, except minus a few defects here. I knock a few points off for that, but other than that, good car. If you're going to buy it, get it. Pick it up if you can online, secondhand on eBay, very good piece. Okay, so next car I'm going to move on to is the Shelby Collectibles Super Snake Don Prudhomme Edition. This one was created in honor of the legendary drag racer Don the Snake Prudhomme. I'm not sure if you know who this guy is, but he is pretty much a legend. I'm sure that, yeah, unless you're living under a rock, then if you're a car guy, you know who Don the Snake Prudhomme is. And I love his dragsters, so I do know a lot of history about him. So let's move on to the car. I'll quit yammering here. Very good looking side, you know, just the graphics on this car are cool. The checkered flags and everything. Sponsor decals, all kinds of stuff on here. It's really well done. You can kind of see there's Shelby right there, Ford Racing, some other sponsor, Bear Brakes, all kinds of stuff, Borla. You can see all this stuff right here. I think this says Impact, I'm not sure. But anyway, there's all kinds of decals. On the rear tires it says Goodyear Eagle, which is a pretty popular racing slick. And they spin pretty well, spin pretty freely. I think that you can actually take the wheel off and then like it is put on there loosely, but if you take the wheel off, you can see that this brake disc actually does spin right here. But anyway, I'm going to put that back on. It stays on there, but it can come off, I guess. I don't really recommend doing it, but if you're going to do it, be careful. But yeah, the wheel actually does come off there because it's not glued on, it's just tightly fastened on. But yeah, it spins pretty freely because of that system. You can see right here it says Shelby right there on the side. Front end headlights are pretty well done. There's really no peg in them. You can't really see any pegging on the headlights, which is a signature of these models. They are pretty nicely done. Front end is painted, but it still looks pretty good. This is painted black right here, and you can see I can't really make it out, but on the inside, written in black here, it says Snake Racing. I can't really see it too well, but it is there. Marker lights right here, you can see the blinkers. I guess that's what you call these. Again, these rims are cool. They're kind of like the, I think these are Weld wheels or something. They look like Weld drag racing wheels or Illuma Stars or something. I'm not so sure. That says Kenny Bell right there. There's a Kenny Bell supercharger in this car. So yeah, I don't really see anything on the rims on the side here. I could tell, but I think these are Bogart. I think that says Bogart or something right there. Yeah, that might be. Those are Bogart racing wheels. I don't know. Look, if you can, look them up. I'm not exactly sure, but they're Bogart racing wheels. I would assume the sponsors all apply to something of this car. So it's not just all a bunch of random decals like the Ricers have. It probably does apply to something in this car here. You can see the one right here because Prud'homme, I guess, is number one. Prud'homme edition right there. Tail lights on the back. There is no peg. Pretty well done. Got the Shelby logo. Says Shelby right there. Alright. So anyway, gas tank. You can see that it's molded in there. More marker lights. I want to get through this quickly. So now I'm going to move on to the interior of the car. My one thing that bugs me about this, I don't know what it was, but I guess I never did anything to this. Somebody, when they made this car from the factory, there was a little glue spot on this roll cage. I don't know how that got there, but whatever it was, it just bugs me every time I open the door of this thing. And another thing that really bugs me is the mirror right here. It's not the best sticker that they could have put on there. It's not exactly well done, but it kind of doesn't look great. It looks okay, but it doesn't look great at the same time. Could have done that a little bit better. But that's one thing that bugs me about this car is the mirror glass. Although the rear view mirror is a little bit better. It looks a little bit better. There's sun visors right here, which I think those are molded into the roof. I don't know if this has a headliner or not. Oh, correct me if I'm wrong, it does have a headliner. It's just plastic though, it's not really anything special, but it's still there. I think there's no gauges on here. They did not put gauges on the interior of this car, which you can't really see them. I mean, they really kind of blend into what is there, but they could have put gauges in here. Still not bad, but it's still not great. Steering wheel does steer the front wheels. And this one's pretty well done. I don't think the column moves at all with this wheel. It does stay still, so it's pretty cool that they did that at least. Cup holders. It's a racing car with cup holders. How interesting. But yeah, pretty well done interior. I think there's pedals. I don't know if they're molded in. I can't exactly see them. I think the pedals are molded in. They're not a separate piece, but still pretty good interior. All in all, doors do open and close pretty well because they are on those beam hinges, which they're okay, but they're all right. They're not too bad. So yep. Again, I think there was a glue spot on the roll cage over here, which again, like I said, that bugs me, but it's not too bad. The center stack is painted right here. Whoops, my camera kind of moved out of the way. I accidentally bumped the camera. But I'm not going to do this video again, so yeah. So anyway, the center stack is painted, pretty well done. So yeah, pretty cool. Very good interior. Alright, so now I'm going to move on, which this is, I guess it wants to be shown now, so I guess I'll show the engine to you guys. Yeah, as usual, yeah, Kenny Bell supercharger. Not usual. I mean, you usually don't see a setup like this on an engine, but you can see right here where the air would feed in. It has this little stack, and that's where the air feeds from that. It's just goes completely in. There's no tube underneath here. It's just a solid air filter just coming right out of the hood. Unfortunately, the one thing I don't like is this hood hinge is not tight enough. It kind of succumbs to a gravity effect if you're not careful, which is why I kind of want to keep an eye on this. I don't want it to slam shut. But personally, I like the engine detail on this car. I've seen pictures of it, and it looks way better in person. I would liken this to maybe the level of like a Revell kit or something like that, without having to do all the painting. One thing that bugs me is they could have painted like the battery cable. There's a few more things that could have probably been painted, but other than that, you know, with the engines on these Shelby collectibles, I really don't have any complaints. But pretty good. The underside of this hood, there's no openings. These are painted. And of course, like the front end, it's painted, but it's still pretty good. So yeah, pretty nice. Trunk, I'll move on to that now. Although there's really not much to be showing in the trunk. There's not a big trunk on this thing. And the taillights again. That one piece of there's a piece of plastic right here that kind of bugs me a little bit too. You can kind of see it, but not really. Alright, so let's move on to the underside of this car. There's really not a whole lot to see. I mean, other than the fact that, you know, it is molded plastic. Most of it is. But again, the drive shaft here is kind of, you know, stepped up and raised a little bit. There are some strut braces right here and right here. And then the exhaust is separate, which is nice. You know, you like to see that on cars. It's not like a Jada. Their engine is a completely molded piece of plastic, which is always nice to see. And the steering, you know, brace is very well done too. It's nice and thin. It's not too big and thick and doesn't look out of scale, which is nice. Another thing that kind of bugs me though is they did not paint the inside of the exhaust. I might go over that with some Sharpie later on, some fine point Sharpie. But like I said, other than that, the car is pretty nice. I would say I give this about maybe a 9 out of 10 or maybe an 8.5. Just because of some of the more defects, but I mean, I think this is like a $15 model, and it wasn't that bad of a price. It's a pretty good car for the money. If you can find one secondhand, pick it up. Maybe they'll recast this in 1/18th. I hope they do, because this is a sweet car. I'd love to have this in 1/18th, because if you have a Mustang collection, you have a Boss, you know, you have a Shelby, this really does stand out from what most Mustangs look like, just because of the fact of that big, giant, massive supercharger with just the look of the real mean look of this car. It just looks so cool. So if you have a bunch of Mustangs, I mean, and you have a bunch of new ones, and you want a new 1/24 scale car, get either the M2 machines or this one. I do recommend either one of them. They're pretty nice. So, I'm going to quit yammering on because I need to get this video done and over with. I don't want to run over 30 minutes here. So, for the best die-cast hauls, my reviews, and if you want a channel that is totally independent, that shows stuff that no one else will show, that has different die-casts and is a new experience every time you watch, it has to be the J-Man 63. check out my channel, rate, comment, subscribe, check out all my other videos, and happy collecting, fellas and gals. See you later. Goodbye.